So a few months ago, I made a gentle case for why Louis Tomlinson proves that British boyfriends are the best. And ever since, it's been in the back of my mind that I owe you part two, the subscribers. Because if Louis is the proof, then Harry Styles is the love poem of the proof. So I like to do kind of like pairs these days. I did a Louis in Paris in French for a podcast, and then I did a Harry in German, not because Harry has a connection to Germany, but I kind of wanted to do them in a different language, and I had to do it in pairs. All right, so today's episode is the pair companion piece, part of this, duo of Louis and Harry. So I will say though that I sometimes really wish my name was Noelle. I really do, because when I hear the way like Harry sings, her name is Noelle in their cover of Teenage Dirtbag, it's like I want my name to be Noelle. I love how it sounds, right? Um, and I must say that I would like my favorite era really is I don't think I've ever gotten over Harry Styles cutting his hair. Like when he had the long hair, oh my god. Anyway, all right. So Harry. All right. So soft spoken, strength, and emotional grace. So if Louis is Yorkshire tea and loyalty, then Harry is silk shirts and stargazing. So this is British boyfriends are the best. The case for Harry Styles proving that that is true. Because I have talked about this. It's like I did not grow up in America. And again, I see whenever I talk about Harry, you'll notice the cadence is going to change. Same with Louis, but I did not grow up in America, so I grew up with a lot of British expats, and because growing up in the Commonwealth, that's kind of who you do run into you do run into people from the motherland, right? And yeah, so the first early relationships, so to speak, they were actually British. So I think I kind of got biased. Anyway, so point point one A. So there's something about the gentleman in a glitter suit. Okay, so there's something uniquely chivalrous about Harry, even when he's dressed like a disco ball. He opens doors, he covers mouths when others are embarrassed. He carries bags for grandmas at airports. Whether he's in a feather boa or head to toe Gucci, Harry always has this unflinching kindness that makes him feel like someone you can trust. A man who holds space, not ego. And oh my God, if Harry Styles ever gets cast as like 007 in a James Bond film, oh my God, oh my God. All right. So the British boyfriend charm is real. And with Harry, it's less about manners and more about emotional fluency. All right. So, point two, he feels it all and says it. So Harry doesn't just feel things, he says them out loud in lyrics, in interviews, in tiny gestures that feel private, even when they're public. We'll be all right. I'm just an insecure boy. Do you know who you are? His lyrics don't posture, they confess. And when he sings about love, it's rarely about possession, it's about presence. So a British boyfriend like Harry just won't hold your hand. He'll write a song about what it felt like the first time your fingers brushed. And he'll take you ice skating like in the video for was it Night Changes? Oh my god, I can't remember now. But there's this one where he has the long hair and he's like kind of like the way it's filmed is like he has ice skates and he's like on this rink and I'm like, oh my god, I want to go ice skating with you. So God, I wish I was 17. All right. So or 18, whatever age Harry was when he did that video. Okay, so point three, the fruit bowl feminist. So one of Harry's most beloved and sometimes parodied qualities is how unapologetically he embraces softness. Painted nails, ruffled shirts, bananas and cherries on merch, reading Joan Didion backstage. Oh, I didn't know you read Joan Didion. Oh my God. You ever start reading Kierkegaard? Oh my God. I'm super fan, time super fan. All right. And yes, he never makes it feel like a costume. He's not playing sensitive man because he is one. And that's what makes Harry's version of British boyfriend energy so disarming. He's both romantic and self aware, both magnetic and modest. He can flirt with an entire arena and still ask, "Did you get home okay?" Old Harry. All right, point four. He brings safety to chaos. Okay. So whether he's wrapping an LGBTQ plus flag around his shoulders or telling fans it's okay to cry, Harry radiates safety. He makes people, especially queer fans, fans of color, young women, feel like they belong in his world. It's a very specific kind of love language, protection without patronizing. And that's something the best British boyfriends understand. Not how to take control, but how to make space. How to say, you're safe with me. Point five, he reads you like a poem, not a manual. That is true, actually. I could totally see that. Harry has always been more intuitive than logical. He's like an empath. I mean, the other band members have said this. Like he'll intuitively know when to call you. Like just follows feeling, not formula. That's why he can't fake chemistry. Why his best performances are the messy, unscripted ones. Why, when he looks at a crowd, he really looks as if he's scanning for someone he once loved. And those hard eyes. Ooh, those hard eyes. Okay. So, as a partner, he seems like the kind of person who'd remember the exact date you first told him your favorite book, but forgot to answer a text because he got caught up staring at a rainbow on the ceiling. He's chaos, but charming chaos. Point six. If Louis is the anchor, Harry is the letter. In my Louis episode, I said that Louis is the kind of boyfriend who always shows up with groceries, with steady hands, with loyalty so deep it becomes its own language. Harry? Harry is the boyfriend who writes you a love letter in the middle of the night, then nervously rereads it 17 times before handing it over, and he handwrites it in his own penmanship. All right. Louis is the anchor. Harry's a letter tied to a balloon, delicate, honest, a little afraid of being too much, and too quiet to say it unless he writes it down. Point seven, the soft power of presence. For all his fame, Harry doesn't make people feel small. He makes people feel noticed. He's present, not just in moments, but in emotion. Whether it's comforting a crying fan, sharing grief over someone's loss, or simply smiling through the noise, Harry's greatest gift is that he seems to see people. And, if, and for anyone who's ever felt invisible, that that is an act of love. All right, point eight. Well, he's still one of the best British boyfriends. Like a template. At the end of the day, Harry doesn't just check boxes, he makes new ones. He's imperfect, emotional, poetic, inconsistent. I don't think he's inconsistent. I think maybe his moods kind of have more of a range, but always trying. And God, he's so devoted to Louis. Like, I give him that. And there's something deeply intimate about loving someone who's still learning how to hold love gently. So Harry Styles has grown up in the spotlight, and yet he still moves through the world like he wants to earn your trust. That's British boyfriend energy. Not perfection, but tender presence. So, like I said, this is part two, a matching piece in a collection I didn't realize I was writing. Louis and Harry, not in comparison, but in contrast. Two sides of a quiet coin, two maps of how love moves. So British boyfriends really are the best, but not because they're polished, because they're real. So until next time, be present, be poetic, and write someone a letter, even if you never send it. All right, so that is me talking like a person from or raised in a commonwealth. All right, so here's the American version. Okay, so it's funny I use different words when when I kind of go into different cadence. But all right, so I'm gonna not look at Harry when I say this because I'm gonna be tempted, or I'm not really tempted. It just naturally will switch my voice again. Okay, so what I have noticed is that, and like I said in the Louis video, that there is something about, there's that theory that the culture that raises you has a big influence on the shape of your personality. And it's the theory of scaffolding. And it was, if you look at the writings of a psychologist named Vygotsky, which starts with the V like in Victor, he talks about this. And it's an interesting phenomenon to talk about because in, in this sort of world where people move around a lot, it's kind of interesting how the dominant culture of your formative years can kind of really shape you. Now, I will say that because British culture, and I said this in the Louis video, is very ancient. Like it dates back to Roman Britain, right? And if you think of just how ancient it is, like London was Londondium, and it became London. Like how old the city of London is. It's like an old culture. Most cultures are at least a good millennium or more, right? And there's this passing down of wisdom, and just it's in their zeitgeist, right? It's in their zeitgeist, it's in their education. They're taught Latin, so they have really good grammar, and their use of words reflect that training. So, between the history of the empire, which at one point the sun never did set on the British Empire, right? It's almost like an inherited wisdom, and it's like that quiet and understated is, and then this is just my kind of impression and my observations. But there's just this, like, they just seem to kind of get it. Don't know how other way to talk about it. Like, it's like if I told one of them, say I went to London and I went on like a Bumble date or something, and I kind of met some Oxford scholar type person, or a London School of Economics person, and I talked about Kierkegaard. Like, I just, and I this has happened when I was in London in my early 20s. This has actually happened. It's like they could just go right and talk about it, and it wasn't like they were bullshitting. Like they knew the concept. It was wild. And then when I talk about Nietzsche and the Übermann, which is like a concept in Nietzsche's writings, they could go there. It's like, what kind of education system is this? This is great. So, also because I didn't, I did not have American education, and I think American education is great, but it seems to vary according to like the district you're in, right? I mean, there's layers to it. But because I did the international baccalaureate program as part of my high school, which I was never a full IB student because I honestly, I wish I had just mastered French. I wish I had gone to immersion, but oh my God, regret. But because of the depth of that, the depth of the material, it's different than AP. So look it up. Somehow, I think the British education system is closer to elements of the international baccalaureate, that their vast knowledge of literature and history, and their own history is very long and very intricate, and they've had this history of really powerful queens. Like they've had Mary, Queen of Scots, they had Queen Elizabeth I, and those were two very pivotal queens, right? So like, and then they had Margaret Thatcher in like more recent history. So I think British men, like they've grown up with this concept of like a powerful matriarch, and don't they don't, but not a feminist one, right? Like it's still innately female, but it's pre-feminist, and but yet it has all the characteristics of a leader that does not have to become masculine to lead. So I think that is a big thing because of the rule of Queen Victoria too. So there's three, like no four. So you've got Mary Queen of Scots, Elizabeth I, Queen Victoria had such a long reign, right? And Margaret Thatcher. So you've got these like four feminine icons, archetypes in their history, and I just think they just understand it. Like I don't know how else to say it, but there's that grounded, quiet confidence, and to them it's normal. So there's something about like the culture is an old soul. So even though you're young, you almost like you're more primed to be an old soul too. So anyway, that's my part one of why Harry proves British boyfriends are the best.